And we're live for the preview of the 41st game. Some of them are touting it to be probably the most important game. Finally, a game that has some. Okay, Nikhil, I won't be happy with what I was about to say next. So I'll just refrain from making such statements. But yeah, some are touting it to be one of the most relevant games. Unfortunately, as much as Nikhil Bhai would disagree with it, but we've got Anirudh, of course. We've got Nikhil Bhai as well. How are we doing, gents? Hopefully, we are over yesterday's game or whatever was there. I don't really know if we can dignify it by calling it a game. It was fairly one-sided. Hopefully, not to be the case today, Anirudh.
Yeah, hopefully the weather stays intact first of all because it's gloomy right now, as it always is in Bangalore, to be honest. But I think we should be good to get at least a shortened game, if not a full 100 over match. I think yesterday it rained, but only for about like an hour or two max, and it's not rained so far today. So hopefully we get a shortened match at least, because it'll be a shame if we get a washout. I know a lot of people want to see a washout because everyone wants to see India, Pakistan, and everyone wants to fantasize about an India Pakistan match. But still, like even in that case, let New Zealand lose fair and square, right? That would be better, right? So still, yeah. Hopefully we get a shortened match.
I'm not sure if it's the internet at my end or if it's internet
नहीं
at the
नहीं
office.
yeah.
Chalo, thank God.
Whose internet is
But
bad?
yeah, Nikhil bhai, Anirudh was right in what he said. Right? Like we don't mind an India-Pakistan game as long as it happens the fair way, where Sri Lanka defeats New Zealand after a proper 100 over contest instead of a washout. No one wants to see one, right?
190, 85, I don't care. As long as we get a result, whichever way it is, Sri Lanka win or New Zealand win. I think at this point of time, if you're India, it will be negative to think who you want to face. You are in good form. You're doing your basics right. That is what you can control. So we'll not make it an India centric preview. Hopefully the weather stays good, and I'm very keen to see what tactics both sides apply. Like something we discussed Akshay yesterday, I'll ask that to Anirudh. Anirudh, do you think it is worth taking the risk of bowling first here, that with the rain around,
For
or
New Zealand,
opportunity?
basically.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think the toss is a big factor today, like we saw in the Pakistan match as well against New Zealand. With the weather around, you ideally always want to chase and be kind of, let's say, ahead of the game, because I know it's not easy to chase when it's raining as well, because you don't want to lose too many wickets and that will affect the DLS power, and there are other factors like that. But you know it's just better if you chase in these conditions, you know especially if you're New Zealand. I think you would want to chase after what happened like 3-4 days ago.
Fair enough. And to be honest, if I'm not wrong, Nikhil Bhai actually feels the other way in that New Zealand should probably look to bat first. Of course, yeah, common sense does dictate that, bowling first and chasing during rain-marked games make more sense.
मैं
But,
उल्टा ही बोला. I
wait,
said to
the
chase
batting
only.
first. Oh, you were saying chasing, but yesterday, if I'm not wrong, weren't you saying, oh yeah, chasing matlab
They
they don't
should.
have to pull them out quickly. Sorry.
Ah.
लगता है
And
अपन अभी भी yeah.
see, just to add to the relate, if people felt Anirudh was stuck there, no, he was just imitating Maxwell, of getting the job done by just staying there. So credit to Anirudh, well done.
Well done to Nikhil Bhai as well for coming up with that. Not bad at all. But yeah, definitely makes sense because it helps them at two levels. It will help them to, look to sort of end the game earlier and ensure that rain doesn't play a bigger role by trying to bowl Sri Lanka out earlier. If they end up batting, there's a very good chance they will have to play all the 50 overs until and unless they decide to, I don't know, hit the stumps every ball and just bundle themselves out quickly. Don't think that's something New Zealand would look to do, at least not intentionally for sure. But yeah, coming to this game, both teams are coming from similar yet different, results. Both of them did lose their previous games. So in that sense, it is similar, but the manner of defeat was very different. Sri Lanka would be pumped up after all of that, timed out and all whatever happened in the previous game versus Bangladesh. On the other hand, New Zealand received its humping on the off the hands of Fakhar Zaman in Bangalore itself last week. It was a great knock to watch. Maybe not so much as a Kiwi fan. Nikhil bhai, who are you backing right now in terms of results? I know this isn't something we speak about early on, but I just want to sort of get your thoughts on that. Like result wise, who do you think is winning today off the top of your head? New Zealand, Sri Lanka.
If it's a 50 over contest, I think New Zealand stand a better chance. Just very much better all round side, and they've had most bases covered. Sri Lanka haven't batted well. A shortened game reduces that aspect in terms of doesn't have they don't have to worry about batting long, which is something that has been an issue for them. And if I remember correctly, the last Sri Lanka win versus New Zealand came in 2015 in an ODI. तो ये चेक करना पड़ेगा, but I don't think if
To be clear, you're
if
saying
will
all
have.
ODIs, not World Cup, not World Cup fixtures, all ODIs.
हाँ, ये cricket.com पे चेक हो जाएगा 2 मिनट मेरे को
Yeah,
कंफर्म कर
cricket.com
लेते हैं.
pe check kar lo. Meanwhile, Anirudh, Nikhil bhai did mention that New Zealand have had most bases covered, but one key base that they haven't been able to cover during this World Cup has been their openers form, specifically Conway. He has been struggling since that fantastic knock that he had in the tournament opener. He's been struggling. Like if you just look at those numbers, first game 152 runs, and since then in the last 7 games, 162 at an average of 23, a strike rate of 86. You would have expected better numbers from someone who's considered to be as bankable, as dependable as Conway. Even in the last game, he had a start, but he threw it away. Today also, he'll be playing under similar conditions with a batting friendly surface, smaller dimensions. Do you see him come good today?
Hopefully, because it's been a very bizarre slump. There's not been one pattern wherein he's struggled against this type or that type, or he struggled in this venue, that venue, these conditions. He's just found ways to get out. He's just found funny ways to get out. He's either hit like bad balls straight to the fielder, or he's just got a start and gotten out against a run-off play, or he's just like missed the reverse sweep, or it's been like these kind of silly dismissals. So, uh, like I said, at some point you expect these kind of things to turn around, especially in a long tournament like the World Cup. But again, it's been 7 matches, so and we also said the same thing for Joe Root. Like he's too good a player for this to continue, and it'll turn around and this and that. But we saw yesterday that he couldn't do it. So I'd say that Conway is under severe pressure to deliver though, because
I'm guessing Anirudh is stuck once again. We'll just let him to sort of fix his issues. Still, then Nikhil bhai, in terms of toss updates right now, New Zealand have won the toss. That's a story from the middle, and they've opted to bowl first. And meanwhile, the experts also on ground have mentioned that there's an 80% chance of precipitation. That's not great to hear, but let's hope that it
The
is a
sun is
fairly
out.
yeah. Let's hope it's a fairly delayed sort of rain. Sun is out का कुछ मतलब नहीं है भाई Bangalore में. So there's absolutely nothing to be happy about the fact that the sun is out. The sun is out right now. Cut to 10 seconds later, it might be raining. It might be pouring cats and dogs. So yeah, I'm not sort of looking too much into it. But again, expectedly, New Zealand have opted to bowl first. Melville, of course, along with Chinmay says Nikhil bhai now predicting tosses as well. Lekho bhai, अभी आपका नाम दूर दूर तक फैल रहा है बताओ. But in terms of team changes, any updates so far? Like, have we seen any changes made?
Lockie back for
Oh,
Sodi.
fair enough. Horses for courses change, you would imagine, given the conditions and also given how Saudi underperformed in the last game. It was
And how
expected one.
Sri Lanka haven't, and Sri Lanka also have struggled against good short pitch bowling. So,
True,
but
true.
again with Ferguson, it's always two-way street. But they will hope कि भाई आज सही वाला लॉकी खेल रहा है.
Yeah, and also it is like you mentioned a double-edged sword, even more so because of the smaller boundary dimension. So those
Yeah.
attempted pulls, hooks, top pitch रखता है तो straight boundary पीछे भी छक्का जा सकता है, top pitch तो fine leg के पास भी छक्का जा सकता है. So you never know.
Correct.
It'll be a very interesting battle to look forward to. But Anirudh was talking about Conway and how just similar to Joe Root, people did expect people, including us, did expect him to come back to form eventually. That's not been the case, and it won't make his task any more easier given that he'll be facing someone like Madhushankar today, who's been in who's been in top form with the new ball. In fact, if we look at his wicket tally, he's taken the third most wickets for any Sri Lankan bowler in a World Cup, and that's an elite list to be a part of. I mean, to have your name right up with Chamandavas and Muttaya Muralitharan, and also have a shot at breaking that record, because I don't think 2 wickets is too much, for us to expect from him today. Do you see him, sort of wreaking havoc today with the new ball?
Well, it'll depend on the weather, of course. क्योंकि if it's a shortened game, then again 2 wickets might still be difficult if it's a very very shortened game and a 20 over game. But again, Agar if conditions remain such where it is cloudy and doing a bit, then of course you will see कि भाई even without that he's done well. तो उसके साथ तो he should even be more effective. So uh, the first challenge will be to get a good score on board for Sri Lanka, and then hope then he can strike, because now today there is no Kasun Rajitara, and rightly so he's looked very off. And but they've gotten in Karunaratne, so some more batting depth there, and which means now only three proper bowlers in Tikshana, Madhushanka, and Chamira. So let's see how that plays out.
Anirudh, do you agree with that change though? Like they've decided to shore up their batting reserves in a batting friendly, Bangalore wicket. What do you make of that? Like, would you have gone the other way? By would you have tried to sort of, strengthen their bowling reserves instead of batting?
Tough call. I mean, Rajita has been poor, like Nikhil said. So he's also played on some surfaces that have actually offered something, and he's not been able to extract anything out of it. Like for example, at the Wankhede against India, he severely underperformed and did not back up the good work done by the two seamers. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're expecting the wicket to hold a bit because Karnataka can then be useful with his cutters and scramble seam and those variations that he comes up with. So that is something to keep an eye on. But ultimately, look, if Sri Lanka don't post anything over 300, I don't think the bowling lineup they picked will matter. They have to at least post a par score to challenge New Zealand. And as we all know, in Chinnaswamy, you always want to be at least over 300. So good. I mean, it's a fair call. I don't know if it's the right call, but you can understand why they made that change.
Fair enough. And you mentioned that we should keep an eye out on Karunaratne's grip, sort of cutters, and if they do grip, well, it's time to also. Oh wow, man, look at that. It seems like Anirudh's dodgy internet has sort of taken me off my game. But yeah, what I was about to say is, in terms of keeping an eye out for, let's also talk about what are some of the key battles that we need to keep an eye out for in the first segment. Nikhil bhai, let's start with you. We spoke about, Kiwi openers. I mean, again, I know we specifically spoke about Conway itself, but it's not like Will Young himself has been in great form. Last game we saw Ravindra open the batting and Williamson come in at 3. There were a couple of there were some noises rather being made about probably Williamson being asked to open and Ravindra continuing at his number 3 position where he sort of scored runs for New Zealand in the World Cup. What are some battles that you're looking out for, especially given the conditions on offer today?
Yeah, firstly, I'm looking at how Bolt is going to bowl. Hasn't had a World Cup to remember. Usually, you'll associate him to take a lot of wickets, and again, that as you can see on a screen, not the same impact. The numbers are very different. That strike rate is something that you didn't think coming. 66 is way too much, and it's not a small sample space as well. Yeah, what may have not helped them is, yes, they haven't probably played in वानखेड़े अंडर लाइट्स के भाई जो बॉल इतना मूव करे तो 2-3 तो आ ही जाएंगे वहां पे. बट again, even then you feel he hasn't had the control in terms of taking a lot of wickets and creating a lot of chances. So knuckle ball se wickets liya hai towards the end, but that's not something that you expect from Bolt. So I think how he bowls early on to people up top, because again Kusal Perera, I don't know how much more that you can add there. He will remain Kusal with the other Kusal who has 4 ducks against New Zealand, if I'm not wrong. An average of 6 and 4 ducks. So it's either none or ton. So maybe today could be the day where you see the other side, and I don't know which one to go with, because after he's taken captaincy, again, I don't want to equate it to that, but somehow coincidentally the runs have completely dried up. So they'll want that battle to go well, because if they are able to take care of Bolt and Saudi well, then you know that the bowling to follow isn't always the best, because Rachin has bowled less because of the presence of a left-hander. So Nisanka staying there with Kusal Perera could really nullify a lot of that factors. So in that sense, I think first 15-20 overs very key for Sri Lanka also.
Interesting points, those. And Anirudh, just taking off from what Nikhil mentioned in terms of Kushal, both the Kushals rather haven't been in the greatest of form. Kushal Pereira, of course, has been woeful up top, something that wasn't really expected of him. Even his strike rate is in the early 60s, and that's not what we usually associate with him. Kushal Mendes, since he's been made captain, I know Nikhil Bhai also mentioned, and I agree with him to some extent, that we shouldn't really equate captaincy to sort of burdening him and all of that right now so soon, because it's only been 4 games. I mean, it's only been what, 5 or 6 games. But again, what are some battles that you're looking out for?
Yeah. So there's one big battle I'm looking forward to that's going to happen in second innings now. That is Madhushanka against Ravindra with the new ball. So far, Ravindra has only averaged like 29 against left-arm pacers in this tournament, and that's his lowest against any bowling type. And also, he's been dismissed in the power play twice by left-arm seamers against Mustafizur in the Bangladesh clash, and I think Janssen got him out in Pune as well. So, and also Madhushanka has been in really good form with the new ball. I think he's taken a wicket in his, at least one wicket in his last 3 or 4 matches in the power play. So, and we know, right, like in this tournament, whenever Ravindra has managed to pass like 15 or 20, he's always either went on to make a 50 or 100. So it's up to Sri Lanka to dismiss him early. Otherwise, it's not going to be easy. And I feel that right now their best bet of dismissing Ravindra early is definitely Madhushanka. So who wins that battle could actually be decisive, provided Sri Lanka actually bat well and post a decent total on the board.
Fair enough, because Rachin Ravindra has been in great form, and this is in some sense his home ground. He has been here before. He has seen games here before. He's played some club level cricket as well here before. In fact, if you look at his numbers in this tournament, he scored 3 centuries, which is the fourth most for any batter in World Cup history, and that's definitely not a bad list to be a part of. Amongst the likes of Rohit Sharma, Sangakkara, Quinton de Kock. And interesting to know that the three southpaws and Rohit Sharma is the lone right-hander there. Wow, man, that's probably some statement that in terms of how good left-handers are when it comes to big tournaments. But Nikhil Bhai, he did mention that Rachin Ravindra, it could be a decisive battle and could potentially also be deciding the game itself, not just the power play battle or something like that, in terms of who gets Ravindra out and if he gets out earlier. But you expect Sri Lanka to be able to put down a pass score. We know, I mean, at least we are expecting the conditions to be batting friendly. How much do you think Sri Lanka could end up with in the first innings?
See, I think this is a game where I don't think you can start with a score that you feel can we want to get there for sure, no matter what happens. So I think they'll have to go. Again, it is cliche, but that is what works in ODI cricket. You don't have to aim too high. If you and how I aim at it is, you look at in two phases, that where do you want to be at the 30-over mark and the 40-over mark. Okay, if you are at around 160 in that 30-over mark, you're probably doing very good, going at above 5, and you are setting it up well to have an acceleration of say 60 more in the next 10, and then you could really finish with a very much a pass score about say 320, 330. क्योंकि then it is meaning कि it's 160 या 220, 230 बनाया, so you have the wickets in hand to then flourish towards the end. But if you lose too many wickets, and Sri Lanka's bad problem has been losing too many wickets early, so it has always been that middle order that has saved them. Okay, there is a partnership between Sadira and Kusal, or Sadira and Matthews, or Sadira and small contributions from DDS and others. So I think today is the day where they need one of the top three to really bat deep into the innings. Whether it is Nissanka, whether it is Kusal Mendis, because see, we've seen what set batters do. There is a reason why we all rave praises on ODI cricket and feel that set batters are still the best way to go in T20s, because you saw what Maxwell did. You saw what Klassen does when he's set. You see what Quinton de Kock does when he does get set. So I think it is a kind of phenomena that works with many batters. You saw that with Ibrahim Zadra. All right, he paced his innings decently, but his last 30 came in 13 balls, and it is the strength of some of the subcontinental batters or some of the ODI paced batters. So I think that's where Sri Lanka should go at. Okay, see how the weather is. Take it slow, take it over by over, and not go too early. You'll definitely aim for 300, 320, but if the conditions are such that it suddenly starts to get gloomy, how it was with Pune, then Ben Stokes' template is the perfect way to go. That stay within the rate of 5, 4.5, 5, 5, 5.5, and then in the last 10 have wickets in hand to go big.
All right, and before we move forward, just a shameless plug-in. Thank you so much, New Relax with Asant. He says, Anirudh, kudos for smoking it in yesterday's game night episode. Guys, for those of you who haven't checked it out so far, please do check it out. The fifth episode, or the first semi-finals rather, went out yesterday. Anirudh had taken on Akash, another very important member of our writing team, and it was a fantastic game to watch rather. And please do check it out. Please show some love there as well. Do let us know what you like, what didn't work for you, and we'll definitely keep improving. Meanwhile, a lot of us, I mean, rather, a lot of you have been asking about weather updates. Guys, yeah, like we mentioned earlier, washout possibilities, yeah, weather updates. Ka abhi to filhal, the sun is out, like Nikhil Bhai mentioned, but again, we know how sort of fickle minded, so to say, the Bangalore weather is because एक second में बारिश, एक second में धूप, all of that is very, very, very much true. So let's not sort of again 80% chances of rain is what the experts said on it. And yeah, so you never know because एक बार
Yeah.
आता है कभी कभार. Yesterday there were proper severe thunderstorms that went on for a good hour and a half. And if that's the case, then we can expect a game because Bangalore's drainage system and all of that is fantastic. It's just world class. So that way, there's sort of some cushion for the groundsman. So even if it rains for a good 2-3 hours, it dries up very quickly. So you can expect the stadium or the outfield to be match ready in I would say 30-45 minutes. So if that's the case, so yeah, we can always hope for a game to happen, for some result to at least happen. Meanwhile, Nani
Perfect day
also.
to sing. Perfect day to sing Kalana Ho's title song. If you know, you know.
Yep. That's a great point. Meanwhile, Sanjay says 2 weeks ago, who would have expected New Zealand to be in this position they are in right now? भाई 2 हफ्ते क्या, एक महीने पहले मेगा प्रीव्यू में हमने बोला तो था सचिन मुंडर, मैं हर प्रीव्यू में आपका नाम लेता रहूंगा जब तक आप आके कमेंट नहीं करोगे, बिकॉज आई रिमेंबर हाउ मच ही रिडिक्यूल्ड मी. क्या अक्षय भाई इतने इतने घटिया प्रेडिक्शन करते हो, न्यूजीलैंड 6 बोला था. Who knows, boss? If New Zealand loses today, Pakistan wins and Afghanistan wins, New Zealand could actually end up, finishing the tournament at sixth. Of course, I'm not.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that I'm rooting for that to happen. Always let the better side win. And meanwhile, Neela says New Zealand should finish the match within 6 o'clock. हम यहाँ 10 बजे रिव्यू करने का सोच रहे हैं, ये 6 बजे मैच खत्म करवाने का सोच रहे हैं. भाई टाइम दो नीला, थोड़ा मैच देखने नीलकंठन, हम भी मैच let us also watch some of the game. ठीक है. But yeah, before I sort of completely forget that there's one more segment to go, let's quickly move on to the next segment, which of course is X Factor. Anirudh, once again, a lot of interesting options to look out for when it comes to today's game. A couple of changes as well for both sides. In terms of X Factor, who are you looking at today?
Chase, tight match. I can't look past Kane Williamson. Of course, I'm gonna go with Kane Williamson. Whenever he's batted only like what, twice or thrice in this tournament, but he's looked flawless whenever he's batted. Also, what was really encouraging in the Pakistan clash was how he seamlessly accelerated and kept the pace going, kept hitting sixes at the right time. So, there's no concern over his strike rate or his hitting ability or whatever. So, in a situation like this, backs against the wall, it is. I will never count out a player like Kane Williamson, especially after what he's done over the years. So, for me, it's going to be Kane Williamson for New Zealand. For Sri Lanka, it's a tough call because really the only player that has stood up every time is Madhushanka for them on a consistent basis. But still, the last time I predicted Sri Lanka, he scored like 2 of 25 or 26 balls or something like that against India. But still, I am going to go with Sri Lanka because 2 left-arm spinners, small ground, 6 hitting ground, it should suit him. So I'm going to go with Sri Lanka for Sri Lanka and Williamson for New Zealand.
Fair enough. Sri Lanka definitely not a bad choice, especially the way he hit those sixes to Shakib, if I'm not wrong, in Delhi was fantastic to watch. Let's hope he continues some of that form today as well. At least that's what Pakistan fans would be hoping rather. Nikhil Bhai, what about you? Which way are you headed in terms of X Factor players today?
Yeah, very keen to see if Matthews can get out there in time to get in a very good performance. Hopefully, he can also ensure that all the Sri Lankan batters use a lot of common sense to not get out to short pitch bowling from Ferguson, and that should really set the game up for Madhushankar to then have a really good go because you need a score. This isn't a venue where, again, it could be if the conditions are such, it suddenly becomes a 160 versus 160 kind of game, because you never know with Bangalore. It happened the last time Sri Lanka bowled first. So hopefully that isn't the case. For New Zealand, I'm very tempted to say today could just be the Jaimada of the day for Lockie Ferguson. Uh, I mean, he's had a lot of ups and downs and whatever that is, but if at all there is a way, there is a venue, there is a day that he wants to really come good, and just just say that I'll do it for you on the big day, because you see that with Bold, you see that with Saudi, and they've all done that in the past. But I think today could just be the day that Ferguson gives them that control, gives them that bite, and we've seen them struggle in terms of Sri Lanka to good short pitch bowling. So him bowling to Asalanka, Sadira Samaravikrama, Matthews could be really game changing. So they either go for a lot of runs and they set the game up for Sri Lanka, or Ferguson gets them out in time so that they are able to, New Zealand is able to chase this down well. So Lockie Ferguson for New Zealand and Angelo Matthews for Sri Lanka.
Interesting choice, sticking true to the pro all-rounder stance that Nikhil Bhai has. But when it comes to my X factors, I did think of Lockie Ferguson, but since it's already been taken, and also to some extent, I feel like Lockie is an extremely high variance option that way. Like on his day, he can take a 6 for 10 or 6 for 11, come up with a freakish spell. But if it's not his day, he can also go for like 80, 90 runs very easily, especially at a surface like the one in offer at the Chinnaswamy. You just never know what version of Lockie will come out, like Nikhil Bhai mentioned earlier. So I'm going for Glenn Phillips. I'm just hoping that he gets to bat a bit more, because again he's one of those batters who can play on the up, who has a fantastic range, who can also offer value with the ball. So I'll go with Glenn Phillips for sure. And from Sri Lanka, I'm going for a slightly left field choice. I'm banking Kushal Perera to come good finally. I know he's not been in the greatest of form. He's just been woeful, something that we did speak about in brief earlier. A strike rate of what in the early 60s, especially from someone who's expected to give them brisk starts, is not what you would want. But yeah, again, small.
The last time Pereira faced the team from Oceania, he scored a 50. So,
Nicely done.
Small
Let's hope
choice.
that's today as well. But yeah, especially because this is a small venue, it suits the kind of stroke play he has. So I'm just hoping that today would be one of those days where he's given the freedom ki boss, just sort of apne haath
He's
khol lena.
always given the freedom.
I know. I wouldn't be I'd be lying rather if I said that he wasn't given the freedom. But I'm hoping that specifically Silverwood.
Silverstone is, I think,
The Grand Prix. My bad. Yeah. Sorry. लगता है F1 का भी है भूत सवार. But yeah, I'm just hoping कि यार उसको Silverwood अलग से जाके बोलता है कि भाई आराम से खेल, manifest the inner Jaisuriya. हर कोई बोलते तो है कि तू Jaisuriya की तरह खेलता भी, वो दिखा भी दे finally. Let's hope that does happen. And before we sort of wrap up the review, how can I not? I mean, I know it's now sort of becoming my shtick. I just jokingly mentioned, but ये हर बार अभी निखिल भाई मैं नहीं ला रहा, अभी संजय ला रहा. बताओ, वो पूछ रहा, are you manifesting Phillips to RCB? I'm hearing one stupid trade from SRH already. Let's hope there's one more stupid trade, because वैसे भी वो लोग गधे हैं, तो might as well just go the full distance. भाई भेज दो यार फिलिप्स, वेटोरी भाई भेज दे. तो अगर इतना मतलब घटिया ट्रेड तो कर सकता है. I won't take any names right now, because let's wait before anything concrete is put forward. But I'm always manifesting, bro. I'm always manifesting for players to come to RCB. I'd be once again lying if I said no to that. But yeah, time to wrap up the review. Before that, Nikhil bhai, let's start with you. How much do you think Sri Lanka is ending up with in the first innings today?
Yeah, for a good close game, I'll say VVS. Sorry. I think it's a good score to have, especially if the conditions remain slightly tough to bat in terms of some help for the bowling. अगर पाटा विकेट है तो फिर तो 350 तुमको चाहिए, बट अभी पता नहीं.
Fair enough. VBS says Nikhil. Anirudh, what about you?
Yeah.
258. I'm going with 258. Okay. And I think there might be a couple of early wickets from Trent Bolt. So, 2 predictions.
So that means I'll have to go to Virender Sehwag to ensure that the average is closer to VVS. So I'm going to 319, not even 309. Let's hope that, Sri Lanka posts a nice, competitive, solid score. And then let's hope Madhushanka also comes up with a fantastic new ball spell, because I want the New Zealand middle order to be properly tested. I want them to do some good work, because so far it's only been the likes of Mitchell, Ravindra, even Williamson in the couple of games that he did play who've been doing much bulk of the work. I'm hoping that the likes of Chapman, Phillips also get enough game time and actually do well. Whenever they've had the chance to sort of take their team out of the rut or something like that, they've unfortunately not performed to the best of their abilities. So yeah, especially given the fact that my Phillips को भी अपना X factor मान रहा हूँ, so it makes even more sense कि ऐसा हो. A couple of predictions, by the way, in the comments. Neela says 112 for Sri Lanka. भाई मतलब जिसको सच्ची में 6 बजे तक मैच खत्म करवाना ही है जो भी हो, भाई थोड़ा तो देख लेते यार मैच, स्पेशली गिवन दैट इट इज सपोज्ड टू बी ऑफ सम रेलेवेंस. थोड़ा तो देखने दे, इतना क्या है आपको टेंशन? And guys, I know I haven't brought it up before, but please make sure you're liking the stream if you haven't already. Please make sure you've also subscribed to us if you haven't already. A lot of cool content coming your way day in, day out. Yesterday night, the latest episode of Game Nights went out. Day before, the latest episode of Classics went out. Do check that out as well. A certain bowler who, troubled the likes of Ricky Ponting and Kapil Dev, someone who's who sort of bowled across two different eras. It was a fascinating watch, and it was also fascinating to get to know more about him as a person. And yeah, before I forget, Neural Hacks with Vasan, ये लगता है मेरा पर्सनल चीयर लीडर है भाई. थैंक यू सो मच वसन. एंड भाई लोग ये सब प्लीज वहां पे भी जाके कमेंट सेक्शन में भी कमेंट करो ताकि हम भी दिखा सकते कि है आ रहा है अट्रैक्शन. But yeah, it's great to know that you guys are also enjoying it, engaging with it. We'll keep trying to do our best and keep improving as in when we come up with more episodes. And we've already been thinking about how to sort of keep you guys bring you guys as a part of one of these game night editions. We'll definitely try and work out something. Hopefully, if all of you are based in Bangalore, then nothing like it. We would love to have you over and do an episode, 100%. So yeah, that's pretty much it from this episode. Wow, episode भी बोल दिया बताओ, इतना game nights और ये सब सोच रहे हैं. That's it from this review of course. But like Anirudh said, 258 is what he's predicting. 281 is what Nikhil Bhai says. 319 is what I'm sticking to. I'm hoping Sri Lanka have a decent outing there, and let's hope the rain gods stay away. Let's hope that there's not a lot of rain. Let's hope we get a proper 100 over contest. Ideally, nothing. Bilkul. I mean, the ideal scenario would be that absolutely no rain happens. There's absolutely no interruptions. But yeah, too good to be true, I guess, especially given how fickle Bangalore's weather is. But until then, let's hope, 10 baje ke pehle we won't do the review. But if that's the case, we'll always be there. You don't have to worry about that. 5 minutes after the end of the game, we will be here to review the game. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us. Let's hope all of us are in for a great game. Have a great game, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
सांस ले ले. Bye.
Thank you.